Recent posts. Check your internet and refresh this page. The Katrina Awakening. Contrary to its intended outcome, the American government's FEMA program's inadequate response to the needs of dehydrated and starving Hurricane Katrina victims in New Orleans has rekindled a source of energy and resilience in Black Americans, one thought lost or diminished forever. Millions of people watched in disbelief as the U.S. government, one of the most powerful in the world, allowed 3 or more generations of predominantly Black citizens to remain isolated in the New Orleans Superdome for 5 days without food or water. Ironic as it may seem, most Black Americans benefited profoundly from this tragic incident, whether they realize it or not. Below, I'll explain why. The descendants of enslaved Africans possess an inherent resilience born from an experience unlike any other. It goes unspoken, but the strength of Black Americans is deeply rooted in the trials endured in the belly of a slave ship. Without the extraordinary resilience of their ancestors, Black Americans might not exist today. These ancestors were forced to undertake a task no other humans had been subjected to, requiring unparalleled mental, physical, and spiritual fortitude. Those who survived were further bred to produce even stronger offspring. The historical reality of slavery, a narrative often used to dismiss or divide, remains irrelevant to the shared understanding within the Black community. While slavery is frequently suppressed due to its pain and humiliation, the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina provided an unflinching look into the faces of our ancestors. We saw their pain, confusion, fear, and humiliation, the same emotions they faced before being forcibly removed from their homes and ways of life. The Katrina disaster deeply touched the hearts of Black Americans and reminded us of our vulnerability. Regardless of how other races viewed this tragedy, it compelled many in the Black community to reflect on historical events that continue to fuel our strength. This rekindled energy has the potential to inspire even more remarkable achievements among Black Americans. Though there were people of all races affected by the disaster, the plight of Black citizens, who comprised the majority of those left behind, stood out. Black Americans, like people of all races, are under God's watchful eye. The minimal casualties after 5 days of neglect serve as a testament to divine mercy. The Katrina aftermath has also opened the eyes and hearts of people from all races who endured this tragedy. Some attribute the disaster's mismanagement to racism. Others blame neglect, poor leadership, or lack of preparedness. But does the label matter? Our society's rhetoric has been carefully constructed to dismiss claims of racism. The media, controlled by those in power, shapes public perception, often leading to conclusions that benefit the status quo. Regardless of societal programming, the history of slavery remains embedded in the DNA of Black Americans. This legacy has served as a dynamic force, driving excellence over generations. The FEMA failure reminded Black Americans of their vulnerability to systemic neglect, mirroring historical injustices. Katrina exposed the economic realities of those affected. Most who stayed behind lacked the financial means to evacuate, highlighting a systemic issue tied to economic disparity. Black Americans are aware of the persistent connection between their economic conditions and racial inequality. The tragedy has channeled anger once expressed through violence or protests into a renewed focus on building physical, mental, and economic strength. This energy, rooted in ancestral resilience, is now directed toward positive solutions. Black Americans can now turn perceived humiliation, disdain, or racism into constructive energy. Many are rediscovering the strength of their ancestors, drawing on it to create a unified path forward. With a collective buying power rivaling that of entire nations, Black Americans can harness digital tools to improve economic conditions. Unity, akin to that demonstrated by other communities, is key to achieving these goals. Hurricane Katrina served as a stark reminder of its importance. We have a plan. While the details won't be revealed here, those interested can join us at www.ageofmentality.com to receive free newsletters and share their perspectives. We deserve better. Thank you, FEMA, for the wake-up call.